Welcome back, people, to another video. Today we're going to talk about the final episode of Jetfix's series, which, one second, I had like the dumbest brain fart ever. Yes, Jetfix's series Nightmare. That's an interesting name for a series now that I think about it, considering how far it's branched off from the original. But anyways, today we're going to talk about the finale, mostly. As you can see on screen, we aren't actually at the finale, but I'll get to that in a moment. So, some people, or at least a couple people, like one person I noticed was rather underwhelmed by the finale, but he wasn't the only one. The thing is, I've actually seen this finale before, the finale of Nightmare before, and before I made this video, but I somehow lost my actual camera footage. So I decided to make this instead because I was not very positive originally. I don't know why I'm like that, but all in all, I think that it'd be a good idea to actually ask, was the finale a good one? Because this series has been building up to this really well. So let's start with analyzing the build up to the finale. There is no doubt about it. The build up to the finale of Nightmare was absolutely incredible. If you're wondering why we're actually here, but all the way back in season 3 at Take Me to the Grave, it is because something very important happens here that starts the build up to the real finale of this season. Or at least what I would call the build up. And it is introducing the main villain. You see, obviously, we have Mr. Beast here. He looks like he's going to be the main villain of season 3. Turns out, though, he's not. Because we get this absolutely insane reveal almost all the way into the end of this episode. This guy, Rain, jumps in, surprises Mr. Beast, freaking pulls his eye out of his freaking eye. He freaking pulls his eye out of its eye socket. This, like, Rain is absolutely brutal in taking another ability for himself. This guy completely overshadowed Mr. Beast once he got back in. And it did not take him long at all to immediately start challenging. Like, he doesn't even like waste a thought on whether he's going to fight them or not. So this introduction to this villain is absolutely incredible. He overshadows the old villain, and maybe that's bad for Mr. Beast, but I don't really think so. I think Mr. Beast was a pretty good character. But this isn't about him. This is about Rain and the finale. And since Rain is a big part of the finale, we gotta talk about him, obviously. So, like, this guy's... where's this from? I don't think this is a... Oh yeah, this is the backstory. We don't need to talk about that. Obviously, we got backstory and stuff, which is cool. But we gotta actually talk about, like, the fighting and stuff. That's what I want to talk about next. This guy is a freaking menace. He, like... Okay, one second. Come on, let's get to the fighting. He is way more capable, clearly, than Mr. Beast is. And when he starts fighting, he really does not mess around a lot of the time. Yeah, actually, I like, a lot of the time, he just doesn't really mess around. He gets straight to it. Like right here, he immediately removes Technoblade from the fight and very quickly takes Jetfix into a chokehold. This is immediately getting rid of two major opponents. If it weren't for Herobrine here, that might have been, they would have been cooked. Honestly, I don't think that some of these fights really showcased Rain in the best way, but it doesn't really matter. The real thing about Rain isn't just that he's a good fighter, which he is definitely a good fighter. is really that he's an insanely good tactician, at least for this series standards. Consider, actually, this is a trend with most of the villains. For instance, Entity was very slowly picking off every single one of his enemies for revenge. And it almost worked, but it didn't. Everything kind of backfired on him at the end. But he almost succeeded. Entity was a pretty good strategist, I'd say. Maybe even better than Rain. But Rain, honestly, for some reason I feel like he feels like more of a threat. Possibly. Actually, I guess that's for good reason, because as we see later on, we see here in like the second part of I Don't Want the Truth, Rain is more than capable of outsmarting our team, all of our heroes here, and he obliterates them. If it weren't for the insanely overpowered abilities of Jeff's wife, I forget what her name is again. I keep forgetting, man. But if it weren't for her insane abilities, the whole entire good guy cast would have been cooked at the finale of season 3. Like, if it weren't for her, they would have been cooked. In fact, they might have still been cooked if it weren't for Mr. Beast showing up with his redemption arc, because otherwise Rain would have ended up killing Jeff's wife anyways. Well, actually, not necessarily, considering she came back from basically an identical injury. But here, Season 3 did a really good job of making a kind of a pretty big climax, really good climax for the end of Season 3. I think that Season 3's climax was without a doubt a really good finale to that season. But we aren't here to talk about the end of Season 3, which I think was really good. We're here to talk about the end of the whole entire Season 4. Probably the end of the entire series. But to talk about that, let's go into like how Rain obviously is like the most important guy we got to talk about, and so we got to talk about the whole season to really get to the finale. So obviously this whole thing kind of starts with but one path, where he just for I don't even know why this meant, like, if it weren't for I had like no idea genuinely why Rain was being so petty and just killing Mr. Beast here. I was kind of sad when this came out, not gonna lie. But yeah, bruv just kills Mr. Beast in cold blood. And that made me dislike this guy very much. But this also made me fear Rain even more, because I had already seen he was quite the tactical opponent. 1 second here. I gotta check. Okay, good. Yeesh. I was already kind of like worried about Rain because of his tactical prowess. But as the series went on, more like further into detail through season 4, I became like this second season does a really good job of making him not only a dangerous villain in terms of technicality, like in terms of strategy, like Dream was, not Dream. Why did I say Dream? What the frick is wrong with me? Like Entity was, or in terms of just like physical strength, like Mr. Beast kind of was. Mr. Beast was kind of like the other side of the coin, pure strength, just like no, very little strategy, just strength, which is probably why his villain arc was so short-lived. He wasn't that good. You had to be smart to deal with these guys because they're so powerful. But Rain embodies both sides of the compass, strategy and strength, and this became clear in Season 4. For instance, we not only see him kill Mr. Beast, someone with 2 powers just like himself, then in Blood Moon we immediately see him use strategy to completely separate. He divides and conquers pretty much perfectly here the entire team, because together they'd be a serious threat and almost impossible possibly to stop, at least from what we knew back then, what I knew back then anyways. Then we see Made for This, which kind of gave me a glimmer of hope. There's not really much to talk about here. Jeff cooks the villains. He's like, yay, we're not done yet. Then, okay, try to hold me back. This is where we can actually start talking more about Rain and more towards the finale. We can actually start getting closer to the finale here. Oh my word, bro. Rain felt so much more dangerous once he killed the healer. I thought that Jeff's wife was actually gone for good. Like, I was like, oh my word. That was the moment. That was like perfect subversion of expectations. And also, it made the stakes so much higher because now every death was permanent, every injury was permanent. There was no way that I thought there was like almost no way we were going to win this. Like, the good guys were cooked, I thought. I was like, no, how are they going to beat Rain? And then all of a sudden we have Give Me Life, which, even though it's really old, I think I just like somehow managed to not notice this for ages, and now I have. And oh my word, I'm not like, I don't know. In hindsight, this kind of feels a little bit, possibly a little bit too much of a comeback. If I'm being honest, the power difference between Rain and Jeff's final form is too much. Jeff's final form absolutely obliterated Rain. And this is where like things start to get worse because this is overdoing it, I think. Jeff should be powerful enough to give a serious challenge to Rain, I imagine. On his own, that would have been a really good way to make me think, oh yes, there's still hope, but not like, oh, never mind, Rain's cooked. But all in all, I think this was a pretty good comeback, just not as good as I would like. But you almost never get a perfect story. And I think it's still a pretty good comeback. Then, okay, now we're getting to more modern territory. Dreams, oh boy. So, if Give Me Life started this problem, I think Dreams really kind of makes honestly, there's a problem here I got to talk about. The team is too powerful. The good guys are too strong. The bad guys seemed powerful. They seemed dangerous for a little while there. But now, as of Dreams, things changed completely. First, we have Give Me Life, which gave us a character who overpowers Rain so much that, honestly, I thought, okay, everyone else is going to die, and Jeff is going to be the only survivor, and he's going to end up defeating Rain, maybe dying in the process, and ending the series as a result. But instead, in Dreams, we get a second overpowered person who can match Rain's power. Which made me realize that Rain was still screwed in the end. This kind of ruins Rain's whole villain arc. Everything's crumbling around him. He's outpowered still, in spite of everything. All in all, I guess not a really bad way to go with the story. He underestimates his opponents, and they unlock new powers and defeat him. It's still an actual idea. I'm just kind of disappointed that they didn't defeat him through more technical means. But honestly, that's really just, that's my personal opinion. That's something I like. And I'm bad at doing that anyway. I wouldn't be able to do that anyways, probably. So there's no reason that I should really be critical of a series because of that. I think that this is a good series. I think it does this particular thing well. But now we get to the actual finale part. Almost. If we can talk about Inspired, but honestly, I think that Inspired did a perfect job of conveying backstory. I think. Oh yeah, I think it did like a perfect job of showing off the backstory of Rain, showing that he has schizophrenia and all this stuff, and actually giving him a good reason why he's like why he's a villain, not just like some psychopathic maniac. Except he still is kind of a maniac. Honestly, I think that Rain actually ended up being a better villain for this. Because now, he's not just like... I mean, he is still obviously evil. And he's not exactly a redeemable villain. But I think that this made him an overall better villain. A more nuanced one. And I actually really like this backstory episode. But all that talking... We gotta get to the actual finale here. Okay, I thought my camera wasn't recording. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. My world. What am I going to say about you? If there was. There's not really. But, like. Okay, whenever I gotta be honest, I have very, very high expectations for being satisfied, like, really happy with a series finale. Because I've seen the heights of Alan Becker season finales, and they are absolute cinema. So it's hard, really hard to wow me. And every time I get towards a series finale, I'm always, always hoping that it's something like that. So I can't help but be a little disappointed if someone doesn't make something on par with that. It's obviously an unreasonable expectation, and I recover quickly and appreciate the story. It's just that I have high hopes, and I have a overactive imagination, so I can imagine what they would be like. So I just have unrealistic expectations a lot of the time. So we obviously got all this cool build up here. Rain looks like he's going to kill Technoblade, which is kind of crazy that Technoblade just like lost like this. But it really makes it. I think it looks pretty cool. But then we got Dream here. Okay, so this is interesting. Why is Dream so powerful? Not to be like too ridiculously critical, but Dream did not stand a chance against Rain previously. Not to mention he only has one power versus Rain's two. Why is Rain not grabbing him with his powers when he could do so easily before? All in all, this finale is way more flashy, but I feel like it's not flashy enough to make it worth this power change. Then you have this. I absolutely love what Technoblade does here. It is so cool and so cinematic. What a way to kick Rain's butt. All in all, I like the choreography. I like everything. I like all the choreography, but I did not expect Dream and Techno to be able to tag team and beat this guy like this. I think it's absolutely awesome, and while it might be completely unrealistic for Technoblade to land a shot like that and Rain not to block it in Techno's injured state, I still love it. I don't care if it's unrealistic. It's way too cool to be mad at. Like, come on, it's Technoblade. We gotta. I can't criticize that. It's too cool. But Dream, it feels unrealistic to like make Dream on par with Rain. Like, there's many times he's been overpowered by Mr. Beast, someone who really never showed anything even close to what Rain has shown in like terms of power, considering how many times. Well, actually, yeah, he has shown. Never mind, I take that back. He has shown similar levels of power, but Rain has undoubtedly been shown to be more powerful, way smarter. And here, Rain does not use any of his brains. He doesn't even use his full brawn. All of a sudden, Dream is able to keep up with him. Which, honestly, I like this version of Dream better. I like the idea that Dream could keep up with Rain. This seems more realistic as to what Dream could do with his powers. But Rain is not upgraded to the point that I feel like it's justified for Dream to get this upgrade except for plot reasons. If there's a finale, I feel like the final battle should be almost perfect. Which, honestly, well, no, maybe not should be. Because as an animator, I know how difficult it is to actually animate stuff like this. And the finale is probably the best animation. I think it is the best animation so far in this series. As for power scaling, I guess it kind of messes things up. But honestly, Dream could have just like locked in, really. So all in all, it's more or less just misgivings about Rain being defeated so easily. It's really just that. It feels anticlimactic. I thought we were gonna get this insane, crazy final battle, and it is still an insane, crazy final battle. There's just this strange. I guess it's really disappointment that it's over. Because all in all, this really is a good finale. Except, Rain, we could talk about how Rain, for some reason, gets to have a happy ending. He really did not deserve this. He, like, did not deserve this happy ending at all. He obviously shows regret for his actions and all that. And it's sad and it's emotional and all that. It's probably not emotional to most people, but oh yeah, this is the real thing. I would be completely happy if Technoblade just like cooked Rain for a second there and Rain just got back up. But why did he fall on his own spike? How did he fall on his own spike? This wasn't there. He was on the ground. Since when? How did he get on his own spike? Like what? Also, the only other option I can see here is that Rain killed himself, which seems unrealistic. I feel like Rain would never give up, and I don't know how he fell on his own spike when it wasn't there before. I suppose it's not impossible, but honestly, it is like the most. It's like a gut wrenching way to end such a dangerous villain. We had him getting beaten by in such incredible ways, and then this final blow feels so weak in comparison. He falls and he gets humiliated in the most humiliating way possible. Oh, the ending to his character is pretty good, but his ending in terms of getting beaten in battle is so completely and utterly humiliating. And I feel like it's underwhelming. He got defeated by people who had way less power than Herobrine or Jeffix. He got taken down by Techno and Dream, the weaker members of the team, and then proceeded to die actually from his own abilities. Because he didn't use all of the strategy, he didn't use his full power or anything like that. He basically screwed up real bad. And that happens, but I don't like it when the villain screws up real bad and that makes them lose. Especially when they're built up to be like so incredible and stuff. I don't like it, but honestly, it's just me being disappointed that he died like this. I really just like more epic ways of going out for such an epic villain. But all in all, it's really just my taste. I think the finale is actually good, and is just not something that I like. Something that more like the community that likes more epic things likes. It's a good ending for a story. It's a different kind of story. Like most animators do, like, oh, crazy, awesome animations that focus less on story and more on fighting. This is, I think, more story, less fighting. It's still got fighting, but I think the emphasis has always been more on tactical thinking, less on power scaling, that kind of thing. So I'm probably overthinking it, and I'm probably expecting way too much. Honestly, this is a really good series and a really good ending. It's just my taste doesn't like it. And, it's okay to have your own opinions and stuff. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that rather long video. Anyways, after that, I ranted on for like 8 minutes. I imagine you don't want to see that, and you're tired of the nerd talk. All in all, I think, and I've come to the conclusion, that Jeff Fix's series is a top 5 well-written series. It is just my taste. Didn't exactly like the finale, but honestly, for what this series looks like it was trying to do, it honestly was probably a perfect finale. The only real problem I saw was the animation, which seemed a little static between Dream and Rain. All in all, though, the finale was almost perfect, and definitely I think that the whole entire series was overall a top 5 Minecraft animation series based on writing, at least from what I've seen. And so yeah, I think that Jeff Fix probably deserves more than 1,000,000 subs. I find it really surprising this guy doesn't have more than 300 subs, let alone only 288,000. So you should definitely go subscribe to him. Anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, then please do subscribe, and I will see you in another video. Later, nerds.